Thanks very much, and welcome to all of our speakers here today. It's great to see you, so thanks so much. And I suppose if I might...
Sandra, if you could direct... I know you missed one, if you could direct your question to the individual, because there's so many witnesses,
of course,
to the specific witness, okay?
Okay, so maybe first for Helena, actually, from Enterprise Ireland. Helena, it was like let's just say I'm a big fan of your few points that you put forward just in terms of what we need to do around education, but the dedicated enterprise liaison teams, I suppose just how would you see that working in our TUs and I suppose our existing universities? I agree with you around the evidence base, but around the regional and national skills forum, I suppose I was very fortunate. I think I had an introduction to the one in the West there. I know that's a great mix, but sometimes they're quite large, those fora, and just how often or how, I suppose, what achievements are we seeing coming out of those or what impact? And then just really around the cross-functional skills, totally agree on that one, of course. And just the micro-credentials and the RPL, how are you finding that, I suppose, from the Enterprise Ireland point of view? And I suppose maybe on the IDA side might come in as well. I might let you answer those and I'll come in on a few other questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Just to follow up in relation to the enterprise liaison team, what we're finding from client companies is they're finding it extremely difficult to navigate the system, not because there isn't enough offers, but because there's a huge amount of offers in the system. And there needs to be a bridge created for enterprise. And sometimes that's quite clearly laid out in universities and institutions and ITs. In some cases, it's not. It's the same for schools, that there isn't a dedicated enterprise liaison person within a school. So, for instance, I was part of that STEM group that developed a pathway for enterprise into the school system, and we had a beautiful structure in place, but there was nobody actually dedicated to allocate that role to actually connect industry to
apologies.
enterprise.
Is it Helen? Apologies, Helena. Yeah. I thought it was Helen.
No,
sorry.
Helen. That's no problem.
Helen, could I just ask you, just on that point, when you were linking with the schools, was it the career guidance teacher in post-primary, or who was your contact within a school, or is it the principal, or who?
What we found on the ground when that was actually put in place, and actually Claire was part of it as well also, is that usually within a school system it's a career guidance person that's usually a teacher, maybe doubling up in a career guidance role, that in some cases was caught up in various things like dealing with social media, bullying and key areas like that, and not actually enterprise engagement. Okay. What we're finding with the universities is that they're much more fleshed out enterprise engagement systems, but they double over in some cases between career guidance and enterprise liaison, so it can be...
Is that the tech transfer office that you're speaking of, Helen, is it?
No, this is actually within the actual universities themselves. So
the tech transfer office would be based in the university as well?
So this is the issue. There is a liaison person in tech transfer office. There is a liaison person maybe in the career guidance office. And also some companies have direct relationships with individuals that are over key schools. So there isn't, in some cases, a very clear entry route. Yeah. And that causes lack of clarity and confusion in relation to enterprise.
And I suppose equity for all students, being able to sort of have that sort of connected, I suppose that connection and structured network set up, I think is really crucial. I suppose if I might bring in Aisling as well, just on the IDA side as well, and great to have you all here with us. But just on that, how do you think, like for the companies that you're dealing with, and particularly in regional areas, I suppose I come from a small town, you know, Ballinasloe, and I'm sort of looking at Roscommon and Galway, regional areas, and where I suppose what I'm trying to look at is how do we work to make sure that we have students and graduates in our area that can fulfil future need, future industry need. How do you see companies maybe engaging with schools or through universities? Would it be similar to how Helen has sort of seen it there as well? Would you work together on that, or...?
Yeah, I mean, it would be a very similar story with our multinational clients as well, that it's it can be difficult for them to identify who they should connect in with into a third level education or into an institution or a school. There's not a clear pathway. It's often a personal relationship. Someone was in that institution and they go back and they connect in with a lecturer or a teacher, whoever they know. I think in terms of engaging with schools, a lot of our clients are very eager to engage with schools and to facilitate those kind of industry programs or opportunities for placement or work placement, or just even people coming in to speak to students about opportunities. But again, it's hard for them to identify where to go. It's kind of location based, so if you're in maybe a city location, you're close to a school, schools interact with the companies know where the schools are. It's, again, that's relationship based, but when you're removed from that, companies don't know where to start, say, for instance, to
have
engage
that
with schools.
structured engagement.
Yeah, there really needs to be kind of and there are structures there are initiatives, but again, it just needs to be very clear. The offer needs to be put out very clearly for companies. Where do I go to? Who can I engage with?
Thanks very much, Aisling. If I might bring in Claire as well, just under IBEC. So the apprenticeship part of this is really important. So obviously Enterprise Ireland and IDA are dealing with companies as yourself day in, day out. They're trying to make sure that they have the skill sets for evolving skill sets as well. Lifelong learning is really crucial here.
Absolutely.
How do you see that maybe the businesses that you're engaging with and representing can sort of take part in promoting that apprenticeship side as well? And how does that work, or what model would you see would work?
I think picking up on Michael's point around how in the ESB that apprenticeship is part of your DNA and your philosophy. So that organisation has been built on the back of apprenticeships in that sense.
It's probably the star performer.
And
maybe
we now have a diverse range of apprenticeships that are available. So what the big challenge is how do we get more employers and businesses connected into the apprenticeship system? Because it hasn't been part of their DNA and their philosophy.
Claire, is the block like bringing in somebody who's totally green? How do you get over that block? Is a block for a company, a small business? Like
and that is a big challenge. So first of all, we need to ensure that there's a single financial model for apprenticeship in Ireland. What we have now is almost a two-tier system. We've the consortia-led post-2016 programmes, and then the pre-2016, which are predominantly more the craft-related apprenticeship programmes. So the newer model, it's a completely different financing structure. So it's quite expensive for some employers to engage on those programs because they have to carry a significant cost around the mentoring, the training, the teaching, and then the off the job training. So what we need to do is, I think as a priority, is support more employers to be able to engage in it, and then like the ESB, put it part of their DNA and their philosophy. So in time we will have future business leaders who've come through the apprenticeship model. That's my ambition, to see future CEOs who have been apprentices in the past, and I think then that's when we'll get a cultural and a slightly mind shift across apprenticeship within industry.
We'll have to get all those employees from you, Michael, into every other company across the country, isn't it? Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Apologies, Neil, I think I've just run out of time, but thank you very much for today.
Okay.